I'm Greg Moffett. I'm a criminal profiler, an author, college professor, and a psychologist. But when it's hunting season, I'm in the woods as much as I can be. Welcome to Southern Hunter. Where we left off last time, we were just about to head down to the lease. So what we're going to do today is we're going to head to the lease, we're going to put out some corn in the feeders, we're going to put our cameras up, and we're going to check our stands. So let's not delay. Welcome back to Southern Hunter. I have all my gear on my backpack, corn's loaded up on the four-wheeler, so let's take a ride. Behind me is what I call my hidden stand because nobody could find this unless they knew where they were going. I love this stand. I've got a very narrow shooting lane, only about 30 yards and only in two directions, but that means the deer are right on top of me before they can see me. I love this stand. So this is the first place I'm going to check stand, and it's also the first feeder that I'm going to set up and put out a camera. Gotta get rid of some of these branches. This pipe feeder, I'll get 15 to 1700 pictures a week on this camera. Unbelievable traffic. So I carried out a 40-pound bag of corn. Gonna load it up. One down, 5 to go. I love this spot right here because this camera shoots directly at that feeder. Anything that comes through here, I got it. All right, ready to go. My friend Mike and I put in this food plot last year just before the rut, and by the middle of the rut it was growing great, and it lasted all the way through turkey season. You can see right now it's just full of weeds, and all of the ryegrass and the wheat that we put out has died, but I love this run. A couple of things to think about in food plots. For me, I'd really like to use some of the cold forage or some of the stuff they use up in the Midwest and the North, but this climate just doesn't go for it. So clover and ryegrass in mixtures are pretty good. So what I'll be doing sometime in the next couple of weeks is I'm going to plow this up and I'm going to replant. There's two ways of looking at it. Mike, my friend, he likes planting late so that we have perfect young grass right about the rut. I like planting a little bit earlier because I want deer getting used to coming through. Deer will also bed down in this area. You can see, especially late in the season, you can see where they've laid all in this grass because it gets up to be about that high. So in my food plots, I'm going to plant early, and we're going to see how that goes. There's one kind of plant mix that I'm going to use that is good all the way through the year, and it will recycle. So I'll only have to replant a little bit, basically oversow like you might do your lawn. So that's what I'm going to do in my space. Here on my lease, my good friend Mike and I just redid this box stand this past year. In fact, those steps have just recently been concreted in. So it's brand new. So I know it's in good shape, but I'm going to check it anyway. I've got my wasp spray, and I'm going to go take a look. Looks pretty good, not a wasp nest anywhere. From this box, we're going to put a food plot right down this road, and that's a 240-yard shot all the way to the end, which is great. And if we look around this way, we've got a 250-yard shot that way. Deer cross this road all the time. We've got a lot of thick brush out this way, as well as the other way, although we will be able to see down in that valley. So it's a great spot for a stand. I'm going to work on this feeder, but before we do anything, we want to check for wasps again. Oh, well, looky there. Some friends. So I'm going to foam these guys. They do not like that. I built this stand a couple of years ago. It's almost indestructible. It's made completely of pressure-treated lumber, and it weighs a ton. But these trays on top just screw in, and there's some drain holes in it, so I can put 100 and some pounds of corn in here and leave it alone. I've got my camera just behind where I am right now. But one thing I want to do is I want to lower this. My friend Mike, who knows as much about hunting as anybody, told me that the tray's a little bit too high, that deer don't like sticking their heads up under this thing. So I'm going to lower it right down to here. Glad I checked for wasps. There was a bunch of them on there, and I would have gotten stung for sure. So now that that's lowered, deer can come in there and they don't have to stick their heads up against that roof, basically. So I think Mike's right. I think that will work better. But before we head on to some other feeders and stands to check, I wanted to show you something. Right here, I've had a mineral block. And you can see that mineral block not only is gone, but those deer have dug a hole that's about 5 or 6 inches deep as they've lapped that up, and you can see deer prints on the ground right there. So they're all over this. I love those mineral blocks. You bust them up, and that hole will get a foot deep maybe. So I'm a believer. I'm way back in the woods, farthest edge of the property, and I'm going to my blind I call the cliff blind because there's about a 40-foot cliff right here. And I built this box stand with my son 3 years ago, and I love it. We haven't had any luck from it. I've shot deer back here, but not since I built it, but it's a great stand. But the wasps love it because there's nobody back here, and this thing is always covered in wasps. So I'm going to take a look at it right now. Hate those things. I built this blind in my garage, and I built it so that I could take it apart, and my son and I carried it out here. It was a pain. So this is one of the things that I'm going to leave on this lease. It's just going to be too much trouble to try to get it out of here. So I'll have to build a new one, but that's another reason to have your own property. Everything like that you build stays with you. You can see how overgrown these trails are. I'll just plow through it, but we'll have to bush hog this fall. Bow hunter, that's the stand you want to be in right there. I love these stands, but you've got to be very, very careful when you're in them, when you're putting them up, taking them down, and when you're checking them. Of all the stands, these bow stands are the most dangerous. Whether they're sticks that are affixed to the tree like this, or if you carry climbing sticks with you that you just put up each time, these are the easiest ones to fall out of. I would never climb this without my safety harness on. So when you go to check this, we're not just checking to make sure the straps are tight and the welds are good like in every other stand, but we have to check and double check our safety harness. You don't take 2 steps without that safety harness on. I have 5 sticks on this, so this is about 16 to 20 feet high. And that little platform up there has cables, and I want to make sure those cables that hold that platform up are in good shape. I want to check the seat. I want to check that little handle that I have right there and make sure everything is secure. Down here in the creek bottom, far into the property. I shot an 8-pointer down here last year, and my son also shot an 8-pointer at a stand that's just down the way from where we are right now. I've got 2 feeders, 2 stands, and there's a creek that tees right here, and the deer make a highway through here. I love this spot. So I'm going to check this feeder, I'm going to put some corn in it, put a camera out, and then I'm going to check my stand. Before I climb this stand, I want to check that tie right there, because that holds that ladder in position. So let's go take a look at it. Looks sturdy. So let's get on a safety harness, take a climb. So I've checked all my feeders, I've checked all my stands, I've checked for wasps, I've checked for safety, I've got my cameras out, and I've lowered that one tray on the feeder. I'm covered in spider webs, I'm hot, but it's always exciting this time of year when we're getting cranked up ready for deer season, because it won't be too long. I'll be sitting up in that stand with my bow, watching deer come through here. All right, I'm back at the camper. I can't wait until I've got this pop-up set up. Breeze is blowing through, especially at night. I've got my lantern up, and it's just quiet, peaceful. Listen to the owls, coyotes run through here. Don't especially like coyotes, but it's kind of a peaceful sound. So it's coming soon, and it's great to get started. I've had a good day out here. I haven't seen any snakes, didn't get stung, didn't fall off the four-wheeler, didn't fall out of a tree. So it's a good day, and season is just around the corner. I can't wait until I start doing this work on my own property. We're about 4 weeks from closing right now, and barring some problem, we'll sign on the dotted line, and as soon as we close on that property, I'm going to start doing the work you saw today out there. It is the middle of summer in Georgia, and it is hot. It's one of the reasons that I like my summers in Chile. Because they're in the southern hemisphere, when it's hot summer here, it's cold weather there, and I love it. But despite the heat, we've got all of our ammo ready to go, our broadheads are ready to go, we've filled our feeders, we've got our cameras up, and we've checked all of our equipment for safety. It won't be too long before we'll be pulling that bowstring on opening day. I'm Greg Moffett, and thanks for joining me on Southern Hunter. We hope you come back next time, and make sure to look us up on the web at southernhunter.org. And for my Chilean friends, Dios le bendiga mis hermanos. Hasta próximo. And don't forget about my other dream, guys. Hunting with Ted Nugent, playing guitar with Eric Clapton. So if you see either of those guys, let them know for me. We'll see you next time. I built this stand a couple years ago. It's indestructible. It's almost made, it's made almost completely black. It is made almost of something. There, so now that tray is lower, deer can get in there with their heads down a little bit more where I think they like it. And there's my phone. So, thanks for joining me today. I hope you come back next time on Southern Hunter. I'm Greg Moffett, and don't forget about my other dream, hunting with Ted Nugent and listening to a car drive down the street. It won't be too long before we'll be pulling that bowstring on opening day. I can't wait. I'm Greg. Who am I? I'm Greg. To go. We filled our feeders, cameras are out, and all of our equipment has been checked for safety. So it won't be too long till we be poeing. It's one of the reasons that I love my summers in Chile. Because they're in the southern hemisphere, when it's hot, it's cold there. When it's hot here, it's cold there. It's one of the reasons that I like my winters. We've got our ammo ready to go. We've got our broadheads ready to go. We've checked all of our feeders and fed them. And for my Chilean friends, Dios le...